Hey people, how's it going? As you can probably tell from the title and from how this video is opening, this isn't our usual format. A lot of that going around this weekend, huh? Today, I am going to be posting my first filmed attempt at reciting the monologue of the Prodigal Son from the 1977 film Jesus of Nazareth. Now, if this isn't your type of thing normally, I would appreciate if you stuck around and gave me some feedback as far as acting and reciting goes. This has been, it's been a goal of mine for maybe the past couple months, but acting has always been a passion of mine and something I didn't get to really act on, no pun intended, in my youth. That chance it wasn't in the cards for me at that time. I figured now is the time. It's better late than never to really get focused and take time to actually attack these things and chase my passions. I can't write scripts that I put myself as the lead character and then not have acting experience. You know what I mean? That being said, I wanted to do a side-by-side of the Jesus of Nazareth clip and my monologue, but for copyright reasons, I just didn't want to take the chance that they were going to be like, hey, buddy, you're playing like the whole however many minutes of that story. So, yeah. Before we get started, I will also give context on the surrounding story in case you don't know the story of the Prodigal Son and what it entails. Maybe you do know the story, but you never heard the context surrounding it. If you don't mind, I just want to share that because I think it really drives home the impact. And even if my monologue doesn't speak to you when I say it, when you hear it from the actual movie itself, it might hit a little different. So the context is this. In those times in the first century when Jesus was going around and preaching, he got invited, well, in the movie, I should say, because they took some liberties. But in this movie, he kind of says he's going to go have supper with a tax collector. Now, during this time in Jewish culture, tax collectors are the lowest of the low. They're even below harlots and pimps and all that stuff because they exchange items with the Gentiles and they take taxes from people. They they would charge people more than they were supposed to and like rob them and stuff like that. And like it was just, yeah, it wasn't good times. They were under Roman occupation, all that stuff. That being said, this home isn't just filled with, the tax collector and his other tax collector friends. There's harlots there. And what you'll hear when you go and watch the clip, depending on how far back you go, I'll put a timestamp so that you guys can know where to start. Basically, there's also harlots there. These people engage in orgies, all kinds of sinful things. People are confused, worried, upset with Jesus because he's about to go into their home. To go into the home of one of these sinners is considered unclean. And it kind of undoes whatever perception people have about you as a holy person, which is, if you're Christian, then like it's ridiculous. But yeah, so even one of the disciples pleads with Jesus before he goes in there. And Jesus says, I'm not called to bring the righteous, I'm calling to bring the sinners to repent. So, they still kind of tell him like, hey, you're going to be defiled and all that stuff. And he goes, the heart of the law is mercy. And it's a very important tone. And the reason this is important is you'll see when he's telling the story in the film, and hopefully, it comes across in my attempt at the monologue as well. But I hope you enjoy, and even if you don't enjoy and you're not religious or whatever, and you made it through this whole spiel, please leave your feedback below. Let me know what you think I can improve, what you didn't like, what you did like. If you are an acting coach or an actor, for any of those people that come across, I would absolutely love to hear from you what you think, how to better get into the role there. Yeah. And I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for giving it a chance. And yeah, enjoy. A certain man had two sons. And one day, the younger of these two sons, said to his father, "Give me my share of your estate now." So his father divided his wealth between the two sons. And a few days after this younger son set off for a distant land. And there, he squandered all the money he had on riotous living. Now, not long after this, a great famine swept over the land, and the boy began to starve. He persuaded a farmer to hire him to feed his pigs, but he was so hungry that even the husks he fed the swine began to look good to him, and still, no one gave him anything. Finally, the boy came to his senses. At home, even my father's servants had enough food, and to spare. I will go home and ask my father to hire me as one of his servants. So he set off. Now, he was still some distance from his house when his father saw him coming down the road. And he was so filled with compassion that he ran towards his son and embraced him and kissed him. And his son said, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and you. I am not worthy to be called your son." But his father called to the servants and said, "Bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Put rings on his hands and shoes on his feet. Kill the fattest calf. We must celebrate with a feast. My son was dead and is alive again." Now, the older brother at this time is working in the fields. And as he comes to the house, he hears the noise of music and dancing. He calls to one of the servants and asks what's happening. And he's told. At this, the older brother became very angry. He refused to go into the house. The father came out, tried to plead with him, but he wouldn't listen. "I have worked for you all this time, all these years, and never once have I disobeyed you. And in all that time, you've never so much as given me a goat so that I could have a feast with my friends. But my younger brother comes back, having spent all your money on harlots, and for him you kill the fattest calf. Please," said the father, "please try to understand. You are always with me. All that I have is yours. But it is right to celebrate. Your brother was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found."